Is Bhutan helping China to cut us from our northeastern states? Iranian president is going to visit Saudi Arabia for the first time in 10 years, what it means for the war in Gaza, as well as we'll discuss what Benjamin Netanyahu said as he has agreed for a tactical pause in the Gaza war. What it means, let's discuss. Welcome. This is the Nikhil Chaudhari show. Alright, so let's talk Bhutan. Now, Bhutanian king has been very frequent to Beijing, which is the capital of China, as you know. Now, he has been going there a lot. China and him are discussing a lot of things with their foreign relations and everything. And one of the most important things they are discussing for us is that they are talking about land swaps. Now, what do I mean when I say land swaps? So basically, what's going to happen is that China is going to give some of its land to Bhutan. Now, it's not really their land. It's the land they have conquered in the past from Bhutan, and they are going to give them back. And in return, Bhutan is going to give some of its land to China. Not back to China, but to China, because it's actually their land. Now, where does India fit into this? The thing is, the land Bhutan is going to give it to them is where India's chicken neck lies. You know the chicken neck part in the map. I will show you the map now so you might be able to see. So this area is very small, and Bhutan is going to give the land which is sandwiched between Nepal and Bhutan to China, which means that they will have direct access to the chicken neck. Now what it means is that if there is a future conflict breaks out, then it will be very easy for China to choke us, because that's what that is. It's a chicken neck, it's a choking point. The moment they do that, the moment they capture that area, and it would be very easy because it's very small part of land, it would be done within couple of days, so to speak. So the thing is, if they do that, then it will be very easy for them to annex our northeastern states. That means those states, all the seven sisters, they will be cut off from India, and then it would be very easy for China as well as other countries surrounding us to take over them, which is a major problem. So what can India do about this? So ever since Bhutan has become a nation, we have had good relationship with them, and that is because we share a similar culture fabric. That means all our northeastern states have some kind of similarity between the people who live in Bhutan and people who live in our states as well, and that's why we have had a good relationship with them. But the thing is, recently Bhutan has been flip-flopping a lot with China and us, because they are kind of sandwiched between the two countries, so they have to play both sides sometimes, and this time they are trying to kick us. Now here's what India can do about this. We have massive leverage over Bhutan. 80% of the imports come from India. Over 60% of their national debt, they owe it to India. And then every time there is an earthquake or there is some kind of landslide or any kind of humanitarian assistance they are in need of, then India is always there to help them. And we need to use that leverage as our power to make sure that these land swaps does not happen. Because if they happen, then it means we have a national emergency. Now when I say that this would be a national emergency, I'm not joking. I'm not trying to gaslight you. I'm not trying to put fear in your mind. This is what would really happen, because the part which I'm mentioning about, which is called chicken neck, it's a funny name, but this is not a funny situation. If they control about anything about that point, then it is a massive security problem for us, and we need to get on this as soon as possible to make sure these land swaps does not happen, because if they do, then this means war. Now speaking of China, a few months back they made a historic peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia, who have been long time rivals due to their Shia-Sunni rivalry. Now why is this important right now? Well, the deal they made is coming to fruition right now. In the first time in last 10 years, Iranian president is going to visit Riyadh, which is the capital of Saudi Arabia, and they are going to participate in an OIC meeting. Now what is OIC? Not OAC, by the way, OIC. OIC is Organization of Islamic Corporations, which is a group of 55 Islamic countries in the world, and they are going to come together to form a solution in the current war which is going on in Gaza. Now this is not a good news for Israel as well as the United States, because the thing is, after this meeting, if Iran and Saudi Arabia can find peace, then everyone else will get along, because all the conflicts they have in the Middle East is due to these things as well, because Iran and Saudi Arabia hasn't got along for years, and now they have, which means they will have united front against Israel and United States. And that's why Israel needs to hurry up. They need to finish this war as soon as possible and eradicate Hamas, which leads into our next story. So let's talk about that right now. The thing is, Benjamin Netanyahu as well as Israel needs to get on this ASAP as soon as the pause is over. They need to make sure that Hamas is eradicated once and for all, and they need to do it as soon as possible. Now, why I'm telling them to rush it? I just told you earlier that the OIC meeting is going to happen, and that means Muslim world is going to have a united front against Israel, and that's going to be a problem, and they will put more pressure on Israel to end the war in Gaza, and that cannot happen before Hamas is eradicated. One of the things that is concerning is that over 10,000 Palestinians are now dead in Gaza. Now, how many of them were Hamas militants? We don't know. Whether the number is only of the innocent people, we don't know. We don't know anything. But we know that 10,000 Palestinians are dead in Gaza. And media and all the Western world is going to use that against them. So they need to get on it ASAP. They need to eradicate Hamas. Obviously, they need to change the tactics. They need to make sure that the casualties stay in check and Hamas is still eradicated. Of course, it does not mean that after this there won't be any collateral damage. There won't be any Palestinian innocent people dying. That's not going to happen, yes. But Israel needs to make sure that less of those people die who are not guilty, who are not the members of Hamas, and more Hamas members die. There are over 5,000 active militants of Hamas, and then there are over 30,000 adjacent to Hamas, which means not their fighters, but the people who help them, but the people who make sure that they stay in power, the Hamas that is. So those are over 30,000 people. They are the people who need to die first because they are the Hamas people, and they are the people who are keeping them in power, which is equally evil. All of this leads to a broader point I want to make, is that yes, there's a difference, there's a distinction between the Palestinian people who are innocent, who want nothing to do with this war. Then there is Hamas, and then there are people who won't actively participate in Hamas activities, but yes, they have sympathy for them, they have support for them. I have a message for all the Palestinian people and their supporters all around the world, whether it's India, whether it's Asia, whether it's Europe or America, wherever you are, even if you are in West Bank or Gaza, listen to me. Here's what I'm going to say now, which might sound crazy, but this is what needs to happen. Every Palestinian supporter needs to back Israel. Yes, they need to back Israel to make sure that Israel finish off Hamas once and for all. Now, why is that? Yes, it might sound crazy. It might sound like I'm talking cuckoo, but it's not. Hamas has been in power since 2005. Their leaders live in 5-star hotels in Qatar, while their population, the people they want to control, are living in absolute distress in Gaza. They don't care for you. So all the money, all the aid that gets sent to the area, the Gaza Strip, ends up in the pocket of Hamas members. Before 2005, before Hamas took over, Gaza Strip had constant electricity, they had constant water. They had no problem of electricity or water, none at all. And then Hamas took over, then all the problems have risen because their goal is to destroy Israel. So how is Israel supposed to help Hamas destroy them? That's not going to happen. What do they do with the aid that gets sent to them? When United Nations send them water pipes to make sure that they would have better water system in the region, they use those water pipes to make rockets. That's what they do. And you want these people in control of Gaza? You don't. They need to be eradicated completely. Whatever else left of the money, they don't use it to update or build new schools or hospitals. They don't use it for that. The hospitals, the schools that were Gaza in 2005, they are the same. They have not updated. They don't have anything new or modern. They are stuck in time. That's what that is, because they don't spend anything on it. All the money they get, they are going to spend it on all the new rocket launchers, all the new weaponaries and everything. They don't make sure that you people, the Palestinian people, are fed well. They don't care for it. They just care for their stupid war against Israel. So don't vote for them. Don't keep them in power. They don't like you. They are just using you to make sure that they stay in power. Support Israel to make sure that Hamas is eradicated. Yes, that means some of the Palestinian people are going to lose their lives. As we know, already 10,000 people or over 10,000 people are dead in Palestine, or Gaza Strip to be specific. And yes, there are going to be more. And I sincerely hope that Israel will change its tactics to make sure that less innocent dies, less innocent lives are sacrificed. I am aware of that. But if you want a bright future, if you want to see prosperity in Gaza, Hamas needs to go, and only Israel can get them off the map. And yes, after the Hamas is eradicated, then there's going to be a question as who is going to rule Gaza. Of course, Israel wants to take over, not really take over in a sense that they want to occupy the land once and for all, not it. but they are going to make sure that the people who don't want destruction of Israel gets in power again, because that's what happened in 2005. Israel gave up Gaza Strip. To be perfectly truthful, Israel gave up all the control of Gaza Strip, and then Hamas took over. And then what is Israel supposed to do? If a group that comes in power who wants destruction of Israel, obviously they are not going to support it. And that's why there are also rumors that Palestinian Authority, who rules West Bank, is going to come back in power in the Gaza Strip as well. And then there is another possibility that United Nations will come through and they are going to rule that area like they do Jerusalem in some capacity. So that is one of the possibilities. But here's my point. Whoever comes in power after Hamas is gone, Palestinian people who live in Gaza Strip will definitely have better lives than they have been served up since 2005. So that's my message to the Palestinian people and their supporters. Make sure this message goes through, because this is what leads to long-term peace in the region, and this will make sure that Gazans will have better life. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.